Stand by one. Let's go.
You are about to experience the uncensored conversations, stimulating wit, and the thought-provoking wisdom. Bold, raw, and uncut. Right now, on the LANCESCURV Show.
Welcome back to another episode of the LANCESCURV Show. Bus Stop Confessions number 2. We're going to number them, right? Before they get out of hand. I don't want to kind of run this segment too often. I don't want you guys to get tired of it. But if you like it, let me know. I'll keep on going with it once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, whatever. I used to write about my experiences on the bus, and I called it Bus Stop Confessions. I have a lot of older ones, so you can go to LANCESCURV.com and search it there, or just put in Google LANCESCURV and then put Bus Stop Confessions, and it should pull up a slew of articles that I wrote about my experiences many years ago. And you know, I'm kind of iffy, I admit. I'll start things and stop things and focus on something else, and I'm all over the place because my mind is all over the place. And you wouldn't believe the kind of morning that I had. Very productive. I just got up to use the restroom, ran into the studio, uploaded something else. Well, actually, I'm rendering it, and I'm recording this. And before I go off to the plantation, hopefully I'll have this up for you to enjoy. And I love the comments and responses and stuff. So this is part of my ritual when I wake up. You know, I'll do something in the studio and come back and lay down in the bed, you know, because I'm not really completely all the way topped off rested right now. I am, for the most part. I can function for the rest of the day, but I'm so awake that I can't go back to sleep. Once that sun hits you, it's a wrap. So I'm just going to lay my body down. And I said, well, let me just bring the mic in here and kind of share some things, because it's like, it's so much that happens each day and so much that I notice each day. Because could you imagine over the years? So I can dig up old stuff and come up with some really great stories to share, that not just great stories to share like gossip, but something that gives a tremendous insight into the state of human nature. And doing this particular type of job and being the way that I am, I like to say that I am a student of human nature. I study human nature all day long. Like you have these explorers, and you have these scientists and people who, you know, go out into the wild, and they'll get sponsorship, and they go out into the wild and they track a particular species of animal, and they take years to do it. Sometimes they'll stay out there for years, and it's like it's a wonderful thing. But for me, it's human beings, it's human nature. And it's raw, and I have a chance. You know, I'm beyond my own reality. I'm beyond my own existence, and I can zone out and just float and observe these people, hear what they say, watch their movements repetitiously over years. Let me just throw this one thing out. You're very vulnerable when you're outside. You're very vulnerable when you're around people. Not to be paranoid. No, I'm not paranoid, but you must be very aware. And I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just going to free flow, you know, for a little while, and we'll see where it goes. But you got to be careful out there. Remember, people, they are energy. You cannot go on what you see, because it can be manufactured. People these days don't give away their true intentions by what you see on the surface. You have to understand that. Some people are very transparent. Children, sometimes older folks, you know, they got to be like seeing their mortality like crazy for them to be humbled. You know, people who are developmentally delayed, they can be very transparent, and it's refreshing. And people say, well, you know, animals are transparent. Yeah, they are, you know, but for the most part, these people who are worldly and lusting after the things of the world and lusting after status, you're going to have problems. And when you interact with people like this, it's going to be problems. It's going to be challenges, because they honor a hierarchy that you might not honor, but they want to throw off on you and make you feel the weight of what they think they have. Did that make sense? Maybe it'll make sense later on. You know I'm nuts. But anyway, and I am laying down in the bed. I'm very relaxed, and I'm going to kind of do a self-Vulcan mind meld like Mr. Spock used to do in Star Trek and just extract some deep thoughts here. And I want us to talk about it. And I want to hear your comments also. But it's like this. It's like walking out in the woods in the daytime. I mean, really deep in the woods. Like down here in Florida, the woods are dangerous. Like up in New York, where I'm from, and upstate New York, it's not as dangerous. And why do I say that? There are wild animals in both locations, but because it's more tropical down here, you have certain types of snakes that are more poisonous, and certain types of things like alligators when you're near a body of water and you're out in the wild, not just the woods, but there are things out here, little ticks, little things that can bite you, little bugs, things that can really jack you up. Put it this way. It's like I was speaking the other day on water moccasins, and those are the snakes that are kind of predatory, that will come after you when they see you, and they will hurt you, right? So it looks beautiful, but you got to be careful. The same thing with the urban terrain, the concrete jungles, the inner city. You know, it may look orderly, but it can be very dangerous if you don't know how to navigate it and the people that are in it. The actual structures are not bad. It's the people in it. And so you have to have the ability to evaluate beyond the surface. You look for the little things. You just don't look. If I see a woman coming up to me, "Oh, bus driver, how are you today? Praise the Lord." Red flag. Nothing wrong with saying praise the Lord, but is this woman saying praise the Lord in attempt to put up a front so that I can drop my guard? Because maybe I'll say, "Oh, she's a Christian, she's a decent lady, I can open up to her." Maybe she's sincere in what she's saying, but it's for you to figure it out. Now, you can't really figure out a person just on one piece of data. You've got to have another piece or three. The more strokes from the brush, the paintbrush, will give you a better picture of what the artist is trying to paint. But understand that a woman like this, and this is just an example, it could be a man, it could be a child, it could be an older person, you know, you need more, and you don't know. So now you kick back and you observe. You really have to observe people. You cannot take people on face value. So now she may say something like, you know, "Praise the Lord, thank you for waiting for me. You could have pulled off like the other bus drivers, but you were so kind. Praise the Lord." And then she sits down, and then she pulls out a Bible and starts reading it. Okay, praise the Lord. Now you're reading the Bible. Do you really always whip out the Bible when you're out of breath and you're sitting in the front seat near the driver, and you have a long skirt on, but somehow it rides up and you cross your leg and you show me all this thigh? Questionable thing. You did this on purpose. Why? So now you want me to drop my guard, and now you want to titillate me, right? Now you can titillate me with other things that women are try to titillate people with, titillate, right? But I don't get titillated because I'm focused when I'm in the outside world. I'm in battle mode, but I'm very relaxed. It doesn't take energy from me to move about in a stealth manner, in a protected manner, with all of my spiritual armor on. Now, the only way you will get distracted and not keep all of your spiritual armor on is when you get distracted in a worldly way. When your emotions get involved, when you get pissed off, somebody cuts you off and they're drunk on the road and you get very angry. You got to be careful, because now your energies are focused on something external in a reactionary mode or way, and something around you hovering can see that as a way out. You see, and I'm going to speak in a way that may seem paranoid, but I'm going to reveal a lot of how I think. Not that it's better than anybody else's, but I'm just sharing, right? Imagine you see that little girl, and I use this example a lot, and two other girls have a jump rope. and they have 2 jump ropes or 1 long rope folded around. I know how it goes, right? And they're doing double dutch. Please, if anybody doesn't know what double dutch is, please, leave it in the comment and somebody's or I'll explain what it is. But it's when it's not just 1 rope, it's 2 ropes and you alternately turn them. It's a little more difficult to jump double dutch, and it's a little more difficult to get in those 2 ropes as they're moving, pick up the rhythm and move your feet so your foot doesn't hit the rope. See, so you'll see young girls, and especially our young black girls who are so skilled at doing this, right? And they'll sit to the side, right? And they rock back and forth, and the ropes are turning, rock back and forth, and they're watching. Their eyes are wide. They have their hand in their chest. They always have their hand in their chest for some reason. It's not to hold their breath, but I don't know. When you put your hand in your chest, it's like you're jumping in on something. And then 1, 2, 3, and they jump, and they get into the rhythm. And they turn the ropes, and sometimes they turn the ropes a little faster, and the child, or grown up, right, will jump a little faster. And it's a beautiful thing to watch, how you can take a rope and have so much fun. But in the outside world, we have so many different forms of energy around us that are hidden within people, that you are the rope, and these are demons who are trying to jump in your ropes. So you have invisible forces around you trying to jump on you, and they're trying to time you. So when something happens external to piss you off, I'm speaking in a street kind of way right now. Piss you off may sound too raw, but bear with me, people. I'm just in that mode right now. So when something pisses you off and distracts you, here they go jumping in. And they may not jump in an evil way. They'll jump in nice at first. See, they're like that credit card that, well, it's no interest for a year. But after a year, you're going to pay 25% interest. But you're not thinking about that. You're thinking about, I have some money now to buy something. It's not your money. You got to pay it back. And you push it back. Well, I'm a little bit in debt now, but in a year's time, I'll take care of it. And that year goes by and you forgot all about it. So when these people jump in on you, in your world, in your inner circle, they slip in. See, when you have the flu and you realize you have the flu, you had the flu for a while. It slipped in. No matter how you got it, you might have had it for 2 days. And you felt or observed one of the symptoms and you put it out of your mind. But this virus was inside of you growing. And you ignored it until one day you say, oh God, one particular moment it hits you. I have the flu. And it's too late now. Well, it's not too late because you can fight the flu. But the lesson in that is it slips in unnoticed. How many people bring bad, wayward, negative, decadent energy to our life and they slip in unnoticed? Well, this is why I say, me on the bus, I deal with so many different people that, I'm not saying it like I'm the only one. You all do too, on different levels. But I want you to go back and look at those moments in your life. Now, see, I'm boxed in with these people who contain various energies. Energies that some are obvious, some are not obvious, some I will never know. Some I won't have the opportunity to look past that one instance of what they gave me to evaluate them. Now, I'm not sitting here evaluating everybody. I'm on a bus, I'm driving, I'm zoned out, I'm thinking about what I'm going to do when I come home to the studio, who I'm going to talk to. Warrior Queen speaks tonight, Thursday. I didn't forget. I'm looking forward to it. It's a lot, and I love it. I love to be zoned and feeling that feeling of movement, and I've always loved to drive. And so what people don't understand on the flip side, that bus and in the front, the whole bus is like my living room. It's like my private premises. So I'm so used to being there more so than people who come on there stiff and they're somewhere else and they're on this bus, I know every inch of that place. Like when I worked at the jail, I know every inch of the jail. Very comfortable there from an employee standpoint. But when I'm on that bus, they're walking into my world. See, and I have to exude that, because I'm not a police officer, I'm not a special agent or a detective or somebody in the military, but I am the biggest form of authority to anyone else who's on that bus, because I'm moving this thing. You want directions, you come to me. Anything is wrong that I can help you with, you come to me. So when I'm out there, you got to understand that there are people who have negative energy who are also studying me. And they are also studying me on a daily basis when they have whatever it is that they have in their heart. It could be goodness. You could see some really mean people, mean-looking people, mean-looking people, not mean, but mean-looking people. And they are so genuine and so wonderful, and they're so good, but they purposely put that front up because they knew that when they go out into the outside world, it's going to be a hostile environment. Not always, but you have to keep your guard up. But for me, right, I have to keep my guard up, and I have to exude a certain facade, which may be an amplification of what I really am, or aspects of who I am. And you've got to keep that shield around you. Yes, put on the whole armor and stay prayed up, but you better do some stuff your own. You know, I'm a good guy, but I look like a killer sometime when I'm on that bus, especially when I know there's a wayward spirit coming toward me and they're going to try me. I'm not a killer. You know that. The other day, I'm going to tell a secret. Mrs. Scurv doesn't like the lizards that are running around. Little lizards, little tiny lizards, like maybe 4, 5, 6 inches, whatever. She's like, oh, it's a lizard. Come get it. She's used to it and she can deal with it. But I don't know, maybe that's just the feminine side of her. Not that it means that it's weak, but just that, you know, come save me, give me attention. Lance, there's a lizard in it's in the master bedroom bathroom. It's on the floor. Come get it. You know, so I'll go and get it. And because I'm not this killer that some people think I am, I don't squash the thing and throw it down in the toilet. I'm like, that poor lizard. He came in the house. The door was open. He's trying to get away. Let me grab it softly with a whole lot of tissue so I don't hurt it, because those things are delicate. And I grabbed it and I go to the screen door, to the back sun porch, open up the screen door and let it free. I don't even throw it out there. I place it down and open the tissue. And he's still right there looking at me like, I can't believe you let me go. He's in shock. And I got to shake the tissue because he's scared, because he's like, is he playing with me? I'm like, no, you're free. That's the kind of heart that I have. But many people wouldn't know it. Now, if I put that particular energy out there for the world to see, oh, they'd eat me up. They would eat me up. They only go as far as you allow them. I'm supposed to be telling bus stories, right? I'm going to get around to that. I'm just setting the base for it, right? To show you where my mind is. Look, we've all got to pay our rent, pay our mortgage, unless you happen to be a freeloader, of which I know many of those. Keep those freeloaders out of your life, y'all. But you would not take the money, cash your check, or take it on a direct deposit, or whatever you have. You know, maybe a jar of pennies. I don't know. You wouldn't take that and say, the world is good. Let me lay it out here on the curb. I trust everybody. It will be there when I wake up in the morning. Heck no. You know that we have people out here who they might even smile with you, but all they want are your resources, or to see what they can take from you. Reminds me of a few pastors that I know. Every video, I don't care what it's about. It could be about Czechoslovakian transgendered midgets. I'm going to find a way to talk about the pastors, right? Like my dear friend 007 says, he says, man, you've been church hurt. Really? That's a new word, church hurt? But anyway, it's the truth though. And I know there's some good pastors out there. You know, there are some good pastors out there, but it's not for me to give you the proportion. But you have to protect yourself. You know, you have family, you have loved ones, you have people who love you in your inner circle, and you have to protect yourself. You don't give yourself away. You have to budget yourself the same way you budget your paycheck or you budget your finances. You have to watch over it carefully. You have to be careful what energies mix with you. Because like the pigeon analogy that I used in the other video, they can take from you when you blend with them, with the two coops that throw the pigeons up in the air, and one has 100 and the other one has 150. Well, that one that had 150, when the pigeons separate and go back to their respective coops, he might have 200. The mix-up brought him 50 more pigeons. The mix-up of you with these strange energies and entities that you don't know the content hidden within will make you lose. 9 times out of 10, it will make you lose. I see how this world is changing, even in the short lifetime that I've enjoyed thus far. And the energies out there are getting more desperate, hawk-like, shark-like, predatory to take, even if they have to put on the front in the face of being such a kind, gentle, nice person. Prove it to me over time. You can't go into the bank and say, hey, I'm going to get a loan. Please, I need a loan. Give me $500,000, $500,000. Give me $1 million. And they say, hey, give me a second. And they go back, the other bankers, and they say, look at him sitting there. He looks like a really nice guy. You know, it would do him well to have that, you know, throw $2 million at him. It doesn't work that way. They got to pull your credit. They got to see if you have enough income to support paying back this loan over and above collateral. What do you have to lose? Right? Do you have something of value over and above your income? How have you paid your bills in the past? Did you stiff this credit card company? Did you stiff this mortgage company? Did you stiff the person who financed you for your vehicle, your luxury vehicle? If those red signs, red flags, red signs, right? Where'd that come from? Oh, I'm in the bed, y'all, so I'm still in that zone. But those red flags should tell you something. And you got to look for the red flags. Just don't go for what these wonderful, fuzzy, warm, glowing things that people put out about themselves. Like a politician who continually tells you, I'm a wonderful politician. I'm a great politician. I would never steal money. You keep pointing these things out. It makes me think that your mind is going there. So imagine going out into the world with all of these people who have all of these agendas, and they're all smiling. Some of them are, some of them not. Some of them are not smiling. Fellas, some of these females will come at you, and their cleavage is choking them. Nipples poking out over the horizon of their bra. Come on now, let's be real. Guys are pulling up to you, ladies. Everything looks right. The car looks right. Oh my God, look at the rims. It's a luxury car. It's a drop top. And he's driving next to me and saying all these sweet things. And I noticed them before. I have to play hard to get, but I'm going to give him my number this time. Let's see what he's all about. And you realize that car was from a woman that he was using. And he didn't have a job. He didn't have any goals. But he was fabulous in bed and blew your mind because that's what you wanted at that time. So he got in. You see, sometimes we're distracted externally, right? Like when I'm driving and somebody gives me the finger and cuts me off, and other entities can jump in on that and try to befriend me when they see me pissed off. But they don't see me pissed off. I'm like a well-trained assassin right now. But for most people, well, the external can come from something that the predator, who's very passive right now, put out there for you to see, like that luxury car. Or someone will do a favor for you over and above. And there are people who do favors for you and they don't look for anything back. But I have to say, in the back of the mind of most people, they do expect something back. What is that thing? You have life force. And I've learned that when I go out on that bus to drive that bus, see, these days, I'm so full of life force that I've got to bring my hat to work with me, my cap that says the company name across the front, so I can tip it to the side. I'm sitting there and the passengers board the bus on the right side of the bus. So I tip my hat to the side because I really want to avoid eye contact. That's an energy leak. You don't give away your eye contact so easily because you're trying to read them on a front that they put up artificially, but they're really getting a chance to see you. I don't look at anybody if I don't know them when they come on my bus. I look at them before. And I'm looking at their body movements to see what kind of game they're coming with. If the chick that comes on or getting ready to come on the bus, she's in her makeup mirror and she whips it out when she sees the bus. Not something that she was already doing, but she whips it out and she's making sure her makeup is right and her hair is right. And as soon as the bus comes, she takes both hands up under her breast and pushes them up. Red flag. Don't assume that that's my weakness. I'm a very strong man. I could say that maybe at one time, many decades ago. But not now. You see, nature is a wonderful thing. And things in the physical always give you an indication of what is happening on the spirit realm. When you have a weakness and you're cut, you say your skin is sliced by mistake. You're carrying a garbage bag, a hefty bag, and you didn't realize there was glass inside that bag, and it touches you on the side of your ankle, the side of your calf. And that glass cuts you there. That's happened to me several times. And now the cut looks like a sign of weakness. But after a while, unfortunately, if it scars up, if it's something really bad, that scar is strong. That bone that broke at the point of the break, it overcompensated. It's strong. So whenever you are in the throes of feeling your weaknesses at this particular time in your life, understand that when you conquer that weakness and overcome its hold on your life, it's going to be a strong point and it's going to be something that you specialize in. My dear sister Lisa said, you always speak in sexual terms, because that was my weakness at one time. So now I can laugh at it. I've conquered it. And now I can help others who may have certain weaknesses or fetishes or whatever you want to say. And I can talk about it and joke about it, but bring light to it. Not to bring attention to it to feed someone else's weakness. So if a person was a heroin addict and shot heroin in their arm, and that was their weakness, they woke up every single morning and they had to cop drugs over and above. And I find it funny, right, that sometimes you have a heroin addict or whatever kind of addict, right? Crackhead, but crack is like so much cheaper. Heroin, I think, is a little more expensive. That they will find ways every single day to get up, to motivate, to get that money. And they'll tell you, I got a $50 a day habit. I got a $100 a day habit. I have a $400 a day habit. And you're not working a job. So your mind got up because you're so motivated to get that smack, to get that dope, to get that heroin in your veins, that you've gotten so motivated and ingenious in your ways to come up with money that you actually get that money. So for me, I learn a lesson from that. In somebody's bad state, I learn a lesson. What's the lesson? That we can make things happen over and above if we really want to do it, if we're truly motivated to do it. Now, here I am working a job, making money. So I can't make my dreams come true. I can't wake up and motivate. Well, Lance, how you get so much done? I'm laying in the bed right now. T-shirts and a sock. One sock. You know how you sleep and you kick off one sock and it goes down to the bottom of the bed and you got to pull it from between the sheets and the cover? Well, I'm relaxed. I'm home. I can walk around the way I want to walk around. So that's why my expressions can be quite honest and raw and sincere. You got to feel it. I'm not sitting here trying to front to speak all proper and, welcome to the LANCESCURV show, or trying to sound like some late night quiet storm, slow jam playing DJ, because in the back of my mind, I'm trying to titillate somebody. Nah, I'm here. And again, in the old man phase, over 50 years old, which that doesn't mean you're old, because it's all how you took care of yourself. I know people 35 years old look 60. Youth gives you a pass. You can mess up a little bit, but after a while, you're on your own, right? So I don't feel old at 54. I always joke around and say that. I kind of spit in the face of Father Time. I know he's going to get me eventually, but I'm going to make you run hard, brother. And there's a whole lot of other people that you can catch easier before you get me. I'm going to keep on popping those organic vitamins, eating my vegan diet, and let's ride out because, like I said, longevity is a heck of a thing. We have to think of ourselves not just in the now, not just for this Friday or the weekend's coming, man. We're going to live it up. I want to live it up in every phase of my life. I want to enjoy every phase of my life. Yes, your body is made to expire. Certain things may wear down somewhat, but your body is very durable. And that's what houses the spirit and your brain, your mind. Take care of your body. Because when your body fails on you because you neglected it, it will affect your spirit. It will. All these folks sitting up in church talking about, oh, yes, I'm blessed and highly favored. And they eating up all this pork, eating up all this bad food, eating up all this cake, oily fried food, slave food. Well, it ain't hurt the slaves. Well, the slaves were getting up and working their backsides from early in the morning till late at night. What are you doing? I'm on the computer. I'm text messaging. You don't even want to walk outside to go to your daggone mailbox. Down here in the South, the mailboxes are out, I've seen a person, the mailbox probably was like about 75 feet away. I saw a woman hop in her car in her driveway, drive out into the street and hook around to the mailbox and drive back inside. Now, maybe if it was pouring down, raining, thunder and lightning, and you're scared of lightning, yes. But my God, we've gotten so lazy. So we will have lazy people who don't want to motivate for themselves. Many of them don't even have a clue. I know I'm all over the place and I'm trying to bring it back to the bus, right? But I'm really speaking about what I see on the bus. Every episode of Bus Stop Confessions might be framed a little different. One might be a story, one might be a concept. So I'm kind of going in on concepts right now. But you have people who will want to ride the coattails of your motivation, and they spot you. Learn to operate on the spiritual level, the spiritual frequency. Don't just go on what you see. I look past that. And when they see that you are motivated, well, maybe I can get this guy to do this for me. And I ain't going to pay him nothing. I ain't going to bring nothing to the table. Oh, you can ask and I'll help you. Right? But some people think they slick. Like I'm going to amp him up, but I'm going to ride out with him and I'm going to get something out of this deal. And sometimes it's immediate. Sometimes it's in the near future. And sometimes you'll have that long-term leech of an entity sucking from you, and you notice that your enthusiasm is going down, 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 and you don't know why. You're doing the same righteous rituals. Like when I get up, I know there's certain things that I do. I have a certain amount of time to execute to make things happen, but I just can't do it. It could be somebody around you plugged into you. And what's the other analogy that I like to use? When you pay your light bill, your electric bill on time, and you know your measured use, and you know pretty much it may fluctuate in the summertime if you use the AC more, right? Or over the holiday if you have an electric stove and you're cooking more because of the so-called holiday. Let's not even go there. But you know your use. And all of a sudden, your light bill spikes to an extra $200. Like, wait a second, you get mad with the light company, with the electric company. You say, wait, there's something wrong here. You didn't give me any increase. I haven't been doing anything different. Well, guess what? You didn't notice that orange, thick extension cord plugged in from the back part of your garage or some part that you don't go to. You may have another structure on your property, whatever. It's plugged in and running next door. And they're running all the power from their house off of your bill, out of your outlet. And they're sucking down your energy unknowingly. They might even be so slick to tap into your power up at the pole and you don't know. Because we have people who know these things who, yeah, I could run your power for you. I could run a phone line for you. I could do this for you. But you have some devious people out there, and understand that people study you just like they study me. And I play sometimes. There are entities that get on my bus that ride. They always stand in the front. And they watch my this is not everybody, but there are about 3 people who are studying me right now. They stand right there on certain runs. And if I reach to grab a grape out of the bag with my left hand, they're looking over to see what it is. And I see them at the corner of my eye. I have all kinds of reflections and the reflection of the windshield and all of these different mirrors and stuff. And I have them positioned just right. There's not an inch of that bus that I cannot see. So they think they're slick. And I'm wondering, like, why are you taking so much energy to focus in on me? Why am I so important? But you have all kinds of people, and I'm going to say it this way, who are in their secret societies, and they're evaluating you. They're watching you to see if they can make an offer to try to make you join, which most people know, don't bring me that crap. Or they're watching you to see your next move, what you plan on doing, because they have identified you as a dynamo, a powerhouse, me being a media renegade, especially here locally. You have some of these coon Negroes that have nothing else to do except watch somebody. But see, I'm slick too. I put up certain fronts also. There's certain things I want you to see. There's certain things I want you to hear. So you'll be confused in you forming your opinion of what I am. It will bedazzle you. I got smoke screens on top of smoke screens. I might be on the phone knowing that one of these entities are around and I'm on a layover and they're hanging out close by, sneaking up on me while I'm on the phone. Maybe I'm not on the phone. Maybe I'm going to say something that I want you to hear. Don't try to corner me that way. We have all kind of stalkers out here who are just weird. People who will block you one way and observe you another way, make false profiles just to watch you. It's true on this level, and I'm not saying I'm on any level above, but the level of activity in which I indulge in online, you will bring these entities. And there's nothing wrong with following a person's path while they put stuff out online. That's what I do. That's what I'm here for. But with some people, it's strange. And they always slip up because they don't know where you are. Boy, hacking is a wonderful thing. But you got to be careful. Like I said back in the beginning, let me share a bus stop confession story. Not a confession of my own. Let me just check the time here. We don't want it to get out of hand because I'm feeling very enthusiastic. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, but ladies more so. You get on the bus or the train and you see some of the same people that you saw or that you see every day. Sometimes they're not there, sometimes they're there. And you know, if you are or happen to be a passenger on the bus or the train or just do something regularly in the street, it's a rhythm because other people, they have similar times or certain times they do things, and it's like the inside of a clock. Everything breathes, everything works together. That's how cities are. When I'm driving the bus, there's certain times when I'm at certain intersections at certain times, and I see the same Bentley, luxury vehicle at this intersection because they got to work at a certain time or work, or maybe their company. You got a Bentley. I don't think you're working at McDonald's, right? But they're getting from where they're getting from at the same time, and I happen to be there, and I observe them. Sometimes they leave early. They get past it. Sometimes I get there early or later. I don't see them. But if everything pretty much is on that certain clock of regularity, you're going to see certain things. So you're usually going to ride. You're going to have those people who ride with you. After a while, you see them. Good morning, good afternoon. You smile. You might start talking to some of these people, but you have some who lurk. You have some who have no reason to be there as far as a job is concerned or some type of task, right? But they're there, and they're not there for a good reason. And this is a real story. I'm going to tell you. There's a gentleman who, and I say gentleman sarcastically, He was a bum, a lowlife. Yes, I said it. The guy was out there just to, I don't know what he was going to do with these women, right? But he stalked them. And he was very abrasive to me. We got in several verbal altercations because he saw something in me that he couldn't stand. Really, he knew that I knew what he was. See these demons and demonic people out here who hang out with their demons? See, some people got demons and don't know it. Like that flu that didn't hit you yet. But most of these people, they know the demons that they have. And they like the demons that they have. That's why the demons are hanging out with them. And using their bodies for a worldly experience. And these people allow it because the demons help to influence others to indulge. Now, let me get to another subject to come back to this one, because that reminded me of something, right? And it is of a sexual nature, right? The demons, and I'm not demonizing women, right? But you take that woman who uses of physical charms to charm men to get things out of that man, or men. Usually it's men. They're playing a whole lot of them. And the demon of lust, that predatory demon that's in them, they didn't know it at first. They just liked the way or the attention that they had, and they wanted more of it. So because they were off their righteous path and wanted more of it, it gave an end for the demons to jump in like that girl jumping in the two ropes when she's jumping double dutch. So now she's carrying these demons now. And the demons want more of that activity. You might call it demon, you might call it something negative energy, whatever. So they help to set up situations. When that woman's walking down the street and there's a guy in a parked car waiting for his wife to come out of the store, and this demonically infested woman who loves her demons and the power that she thinks that they have, that they help to bring her, that demon will jump out on that man. He didn't even see this woman yet. She's coming around the corner. And all of a sudden he's thinking lusty thoughts outside of his wife. Well, guess what? Here it come, baby. Now here she come, sashaying down the block, knowing just how to make those short steps to make everything jiggle and wiggle just right. She might drop something after she spotted you at the corner of her eye, checking her out. She might drop something and turn around and bend over to pick it up. And then she'll turn around and she'll look at you because she knows that you're taking this all in. And she gives you that smile. And she comes over to you. And she may ask you, oh, I'm looking for a particular address. Maybe you might be able to help me. And this brother looking inside the store, his wife is not even in the line yet. So he says to him, so I got time. How can I help you, sweetheart? And there it is. However the connection happens. 6 months, 6 weeks, 6 years from now, homeboy's in trouble. He done lost everything because of what demon help. Scouting demons. Oh, we have a lusty man over here, sweetheart. Come over here and get him. And now they feed off of that situation. But back to the bus with this man. See, he knew that I don't like these slick behind predators. And I'm probably going to end it up on this because I have a few other things that I'm doing. But trust me, let me know the regularity that you want these kind of episodes in, right? But we spotted each other. We are diametrically opposed to each other. Just like when you start work on a job the first day, you know when you're in touch with yourself, that person and I, we're not going to get along. And you feign trying to get along, but under it, you know a confrontation's coming until you can't take it no more. See? So he would ride the bus and I would stay cool, but he would say little slick things under his breath and I would ignore them because what was in him knew what was in me. And he was agitated by my very presence because he saw a person who walked with authority, not because I was just a daggone bus driver, but I'm not going to let you do anything to any woman around me, even though I did not know that that was the situation. He spotted that thing inside of me. So he would sit down. He would get on downtown and he would sit on the bus. Now, if a woman that he chose, and I observed him over months. He didn't actually do anything, but I observed his movements to the point where I knew where he was going with it. Why is it? Let's just make this up, because cities are different, streets are different. Say it takes 25 bus stops to get to where you live on Main Street. Let's just call it Main Street, right? No. If you live in a black neighborhood, you're not too far from Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Why is that? Why is it in every black neighborhood, or most black neighborhoods, there's a Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and there's a chicken spot nearby? So all you got to do in a new city, if you want to find black folks, this on a side note, just ask anybody, can you tell me where a good chicken spot is on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard? You'll find yourself in the middle of that hood. And I don't care if you're in Tennessee. I don't care if you're Arizona or Sacramento or New York City or Philadelphia. There's always that hungry behind dog that looks so sorry, and it looks like he's smiling, but he wants those chicken bones you throw out when you're in the parking lot eating. Why is that? But let's say it takes 25 stops to get to where you live on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. I'm not saying you live in the hood. I'm just making jokes, y'all. And I would see this guy get on, and he would stay on. He'd ride the whole length. He's surveying. He's watching when women are getting off of that bus and when they're getting on. But this is the nighttime. He chose a night route or a nighttime to do this because he can move under the, cover of shadows. And so now, I would notice him. Now, this is another thing you got to do, ladies. If you ride public transportation, do not sit in the same position. We are too predictable. It's bad enough that we have to move at a certain time. You come out of work, you're not going to hang around for the next bus or train. That might be a whole hour, right? But try to sit somewhere different. Even if you see another young lady or woman that you can kind of sit near and engage in small talk to seem as though you're with somebody, do that. Even if you have to ride to the end of the bus stop and ride back to your stop, if the bus driver will allow you. And you might have to say, listen, this is the reason why. Because this has happened a lot. Because you have people who will get on the bus and watch you. And they will watch you for weeks. This is a game for them. That you don't know that they're observing your life. And don't get on the phone. If you get on the phone, make sure that you're not talking loud enough, because some of these jokers got some superhuman hearing. And you may say to yourself, well, I'm not saying much. It's enough for them to zero in on your coordinates where you stand in life. Even if you say, Friday, I got to go to church. Not so much for the service, but I have to talk to the pastor about some business that we're doing. Bing! When he doesn't see you Friday, he knows you're going to be at church, right? He knows you go to church now. He knows it's not just in the capacity of going as a member, right? But you're going there to take care of some business. Maybe it's personal business. Maybe you have a position in the church, but he knows more than what he knew before. And he puts that and files it away. See, this is what I'm talking about. And let me check the time here again. Was this somebody calling me? No, I got time. So now, after several weeks or a week and a half of riding on the bus and not even getting off of the bus, he knows what stop you get off on. Guess who I don't see on the bus anymore? But guess who I see somewhere near Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, not on the bus stop waiting for you to get off, but a block and a half away, walking down and timing my bus. So you get off and you head, it's got to be an intersection, right? 9 times out of 10, you may go north, east, west, or south from that intersection where I dropped you off. Well, you're going to go south. Let's just make this up. I don't know. And you go south. You think this guy's going to walk and follow you all the way home? No. I don't see him on the bus the next night. But now he's not just going to be on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in that intersection by the chicken spot with the hungry dog, looking at you like he's begging for food. I'm not going to bite you. He's going to be a block down and up the other block. Turn left or right, because he knows you're coming down there. So you're on the bus feeling like, even if you notice the creepy guy, well, he's not around no more. He can change his outfits. He can observe you from half a block away. And you're walking thinking that nobody's seeing you. Look, in the inner cities, you got guys who hustle drugs, and you say they're on the corner. Well, they're on the corner because they can stand right by the edge of the building, and if you see them, they can dip back behind, and you don't see them. They stand near the telephone pole, and the clothes are dark. They can stand behind the pole, and when you drive through, they can move in a way where you don't see them. You can have an intersection of a street late at night that looks so quiet. And we got cell phones now. You can have 8, 9, 10 people not in that one spot, but spread out. And at first glance, you don't see anyone. But try walking down that block. You're like, wait a second. I didn't think there was anybody down here. They're in the alleyways, behind the poles, standing in doorways, leaning up on a car, being like that chameleon who can mix and blend their colors to whatever they stand on. So you got to be careful. You don't know who's observing you. And I can go in on other levels, on the spiritual level, on a predatory level, where they would jump out and do something to you, rape you, take your money, do whatever. And then you'll be shocked. That particular woman that got off at Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard with the chicken spot and the hungry dog, walked south, turned left, turned right, ducked through an alleyway, thought she's shaking people, but this guy just moves up his positioning according to what you give him. He doesn't go in for it all the time. He doesn't go for everything. Only a person who's very compulsive will walk behind you and follow you all the way home. They're going to take a one-shot deal. You know, when you get that welfare check and you can get welfare or you can get the one-shot deal. I just want this one time. Don't tell me you don't know about that. But you can have people that will follow you home all the way. But most people who are predators are not that dumb. And you'll have a guy like this particular guy who I saw who worked on different accounts, meaning that he would follow different women, or he'd make, if it was 3 women that got off at this particular stop, he might walk in a certain direction and allow himself to be seen, because you say, I see this guy at a time. He's right. I don't know where he's going, where he lives. He must work. Stop assuming. He's checking all y'all out. And as you all break up and go in your different directions, then he's making mental notes. And you wonder how this dude showed up at your door. Or you wonder how this guy is at your apartment complex or on your block looking legit. He might put on a work uniform that he got his hands on, that somebody was hanging out to dry. And he says something, you know, legit, and wins your trust and strikes up a conversation. This guy's been stalking you, man. And he wants to do something to you. Just the same way you have these shysters. Now, to go back on the story, I don't want to jump, but he said something slick to me, and I said something right back to him, and he tried to jump up in a challenging manner, and I'm not there to fight because that's my job, but when he sat down, and I already knew what was in his spirit after observing him, I stood up in the front of that bus before I pulled off, and this was like about 11:30 at night, and I said, attention ladies who ride my bus, you must be careful as to what's around you and who's around you on the bus when you ride it. I didn't say that bus. And I could have been blinking my eyes and say, hey, I'm making a point, but they understood. I said, read between the lines. You have entities out here who are predatory, who will follow you and stalk you in stages. Be very careful. Have someone come to the bus stop and pick you up. Go down to the end of the route with me and come back so we know who's on the bus. Wouldn't you know that the demons in this gentleman, I'm just calling him gentleman to be sarcastic. He was a demon himself. He harbored demons. He was a demon Underground Railroad. He welcomed them, right? He fed them. He gave them safe haven so they can do their dirt through his body. Wouldn't you believe this guy got up? Oh, man. Excuse my French. I'm going to say exactly what he said. Man, you full of shit. I don't know who you trying to throw off on, man. Get the F on up out of here, man. I'm out of here. And I shook my head and smirked. And I looked at these young ladies. There were some gentlemen on there, and they were shocked too. I told them, I said, I didn't think it was going to be that easy. So in essence, I'm not a pastor. I'm not a preacher. I'm a regular guy trying to get better in the world. But I casted out a demon off that bus. And that could have saved somebody's life. That could have saved somebody's resources. Too many predatory people out here. Oh, man. And more stories that hit me in my brain, but I think I better be going. The time is running down. Oh, God. I hope that made sense what I just said, right? And there are other predatory entities that I want to speak about out there on my bus. And I got specific stories. I kind of got into the concept. I told that one story, and that guy definitely had a drug problem. I found out later on. He switched his neighborhood, and he started working in other neighborhoods. I don't know how he got his money. I don't know what. But he was hell-bent on sucking from the energy of women, whether he wanted to do something for them, to them, not for them. What could he do for them? To them on a one-time level, or work his way in their lives. And, I got to tell this one more before I go. There's a gentleman who, sarcastically spoken again, who is much younger than me. And it was about 10 years ago, maybe 11. And I first ran across him. And his race, which is not important, it's the concept I'm speaking about, but he had a look like he had some black in him. He had white in him, but he was mixed with something else. He came off like a very well mixed Brazilian, right? You know, because in Brazil, there's a lot of Africans, Caucasian, European blood, and everything in the middle. His hair was curly and loose, but it wasn't straight. His complexion was not white, but it was light, like he was high yellow, you know, but even lighter than that. All I'm saying, he had, maybe I'm sick for saying this, but across the board appeal. If you were white and didn't like black men, you'd look at him and say, yeah, well. If you were black and didn't like white men, you say, well, you know, you got enough color in him. He was perfectly made for how he carries on. And he would get on, I would say he was about 23, 24 back then. So if it's 11 years ahead now, he's got to be like 33, 34, 35. He was very young. He was tall, but not as tall as he is now. And he had a wholesomeness to him still. But he had the kind of look or way about him that told me, like, and let me check this time again. I was paranoid. I thought it was an hour later. Like when it gets, like, say, 9:57, you're like, is it 10 or is it 11? You know what I mean? Your mind plays tricks on you. But this is going to be the last one before I move off. But he had a wholesomeness about him that you can connect to. From the distance, I could feel that. But he kind of came off like a guy that learned that there are lonely women out here who may have an extra inflated bank account. And it's like he found something that he's excited about. And I only use that example because of how I observed what he eventually turned into. So he also always never had the full fare. He always tried to get over, which if you don't pay, I'm still getting paid. So it's nothing to me. But now if you try to get over now and we see each other on a regular basis, it's like, come on, dude, now you're insulting my intelligence. Show me some respect because this is my job, and show respect to the other people who are paying because they're paying. Who are you? Make an effort. I let people slide, and I let working people who I know are working people slide. The ones who have their card and they lost their 30-day pass and they lost, it's like, man, I got you. On this route, I got you. till next month comes, you know. Fair is fair. Make a long story short, 'cause nature's calling me soon. He was always one from even back then to study your eyes, to gaze in your eyes. And again, this is why I say you must be very careful as to who you give eye contact to. Don't give that away. Even if you have to look at the person's shoulder or look down, these predators are always looking to siphon some inkling of what you are. If you give it to them, you give it to them strong. You keep your expression fixed. Practice this. Something intimidating back. So when you lock eyes with them, they're looking in your eyes, but they're also seeing your expression and they're seeing your power. And when you look at them, don't look at them long. Don't pull away weak. It's not a staring contest, but you control how you gaze. You look at them, you make your point. You don't look at them and wait for them to say something and put something in you. When you do give eye contact, you're also giving them words. Like my man, if you don't have the money, man, you got to show respect. This is the second time you came with this. I can't do it anymore. And I'm looking you in the eye. You know I mean business. If I look down, I can't do it this time. It's not right for the people. You're saying it weak. They're going to walk all over you. Well, man, just this one more time. Or they'll just walk and sit down. And some bus drivers will go for that. No, it doesn't work that way. I'm soft-spoken. I'm a nice guy. But look, I got balls. I got testosterone. I'm a man. Respect me. Sorry for that. I had a testosterone moment. But as time went on and he tried to get over, he realized I was the bus driver that you're not going to get over on. He did not like it because he was honing himself and preparing himself to be this ultimate gigolo. That's really what it was. He's a good-looking man, handsome man. He has an excellent command of the English language. He's clean appearing, but he oftentimes wore the same outfits. Like he had a rotation of 2 or 3 different outfits that he dogged all the time. Doesn't mean if you have 2 or 3 outfits, anything's wrong with you. He was always clean, but it was like you knew this guy wasn't a man of means. You knew that he had nothing on his mind. How did I know? I don't know how I know, but I knew. Intuition. So he knew that I'm a working man. He knew that I'm a responsible man. He knows that I'm goal-oriented and driven and focused to the point where I lose sleep because I'm so motivated. I'm like, I can sleep an hour less, whatever. And so guys like that and guys like me, we don't get along. In passing quickly, yes. You hang around me and your bum behind becomes an eyesore to me. I don't want to see you. We're different people. It's like touching a hot stove. I touch it and I'm done. Touch, go, touch, go. But if I keep my hand on it, it begins to burn me. And I don't want to get burned. I don't want to mix in with bum. And I'm not above anybody. You shouldn't call anybody a bum. No, there are a lot of broken people out here. I understand that. But some of us out here are straight bums, wanting to ride the coattails of your motivation, plugging in with that orange extension cord into your house and driving up the light and electric bill. And they don't care. They'll pull the cord out and say hi to you down the block. Oh, good morning. How are you? And they're sucking from you. Your pastor, most of them are sucking from you. Those frenemies, they're sucking from you. Some of them want to hear misery in your life. Well, you can always talk to me. Well, what happened next? And they just sitting there, not physically masturbating, but they're getting off. They're having nosy-gasms off of your misery. Cut the ties from everybody who doesn't have a righteous connection to you. Because there are guys like this gigolo dude out there who now has a cell phone. He moved on up in the world. He and his outfits, jeans, a t-shirt, and this vest. Not a dress vest, but like those vests that the truck drivers wear, like the arms are cut out and it's like a down, a jacket, filled up, keep you warm. That's what he wears when it's cooler down here in Florida. But he'll rock the t-shirt and jeans, and he always looks like he's clean, but he always looks like he just got up off of somebody's couch, sleeping all night. Like, you just threw water in your face. You got morning breath. Yes, he does, because he hit me with morning breath even in the evening. So you know you're not living right when you have morning breath in the evening. You jumped up from somewhere and ran out. But he's on the same bus lines. On this particular bus line that I do, it goes through hoods, it goes through tourist areas, it goes through affluent areas. Why is it that he's always hanging around the affluent area? Because you have women who are affluent, and I hear him on the phone talking to these different women that he just met. He used to really try to feed off of what he saw on the bus when he was younger, but I guess he went for bigger game. And there was one time, it's also an ego thing with him because of what I represent. Maybe I represent that father that wasn't going for his lazy womanizing ways or just his slothful ways. And I represent that authority figure to him, that discipline figure to him. So one day he pulled up next to me in a drop top BMW. I was at the bus stop picking up passengers in this affluent neighborhood, and it was a 2-lane road. He pulled up and stopped and honked the horn, smiled at me, and zoomed off in what he thought in his mind was some form of victory. Like, yeah, I showed him I'm in this drop top BMW and he's driving a city bus. I made it. It was somebody else's car. Obviously, because another week or two, he was back on the bus. And he paid real quick and didn't want eye contact then. He looked so defeated. But there are people out here who use people. And there are predatory entities out here who will sink their fangs deep inside of you. I've seen or listened to him sweet talk his new prospects on the phone while using the resources of another woman to impress that new woman. And so I saw him yesterday, or actually like the last few days. And I know, okay, 11 years went by. If he was 22 or 23, 24, he's got to be 33, 34, 35. The guy looks dogged out. He looks dogged out. It's not even a drug thing. It's a I'm not living well thing. I'm not living wholesome thing. And trust me, by the time he hits 50, 45 and 50, it's going to catch up with him even more, because you see, while you're doing your dirt in your youth, going into the 30s, see, people think it's like that flu again. All that wear and tear is in you. It's going to show up in your face. It's going to show up in your health. It's going to show up in your body. Even if you stop, unless you do a whole complete turnaround and connect in with what is righteous and divine. Because I've seen people who have gone through things, crack addictions, prostitution. I know some who have HIV and they were crack whores and on crack and homeless and they still turn around and look good because they, on a spiritual, mental, and physical level, have recalibrated their vibration. But if you don't do that, it's going to catch up with you. When you're not living right, all of the sins prior that you indulged in will come back to visit you and manifest on you. And there's nothing you can do to get away with it, or get away from it, rather. So I saw him and I couldn't believe it, how old he looked. And he still wanted to look me in the eye. He had problems swiping his card. And I told him, without even looking at him, I said, man, you can sit down. It's okay. No. I want to make sure. He didn't want to make sure the card swiped. He wanted to try to connect with me. Because, see, he's observed over time that people talk with me. And some worthwhile, decent women talk with me on the front of the bus. And it's not me he wants to connect to, but I believe his female resources are dropping down. So now he would like to befriend me so he can get into my inner circle and raise hell with the decent women that he sees talk to me on their commute. I'm not dumb. And this is why I say you got to put on that whole armor and don't be made to feel shy. That, oh girl, Oh, my man, you thinking paranoid. Or, oh, girl, you're thinking paranoid. No. It's self-preservation out here. You're not going to build a huge mansion and fill it with all of the amenities that you ever wanted. Let's say you did that. I wouldn't want to. I'm not into that. Give me a little place and fix it off nice. Just put Mrs. Scurv's kitchen in that bad boy, right? But if you make this mansion and you put everything in there desirable on a worldly level, for those of you who are into that, why would you not put a security system there? Aren't you precious? Didn't you go through hell to get to this point? Yes, we've all enjoyed wonderful times. But if you're listening to this video this long, I know, like me, you've been through some hell and you've gained precious experience to come out of what you've come out of and to have now, so that you don't repeat it and go back to doing or having that situation happen again. That's your security system. So it's not paranoia. So learn from your mistakes and the mistakes of others, but you're precious. You have a lot to offer. You've been through hell to get to this point. Whatever it is that you have on a wisdom, a mental, a spiritual, or a worldly, material level, you've worked hard for it. You know that you're a target. With these predatory people out here, do not let them come into your life and snatch away all that you've worked hard for.
Make sure to check out the boldest blog at LANCESCURV.com and follow Scurv on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube under LANCESCURV.